Welcome to this edition of Senior Spotlight.
We're back in the studio, and today we're going to be talking about legal issues involving seniors. And I'm here today with Brandon Fields and Russ Lombardi, both of whom are attorneys who specialize in elder issues. So my first question is probably the very obvious: what are the legal issues for seniors?
Well, Judy, I'd say the first issue that I see most often in my practice is how do I maintain my independence? And if you see aging from a legal perspective as a continuum where you have total independence, and then depending on the issues that you encounter, particularly health-wise, you may need assistance. And you may need assistance in terms of someone helping to manage your finances, or to make healthcare decisions for you, or to pay your bills, or to help you figure out what's the best setting you can live in. And from a legal perspective, that involves planning. How do you plan best to deal with those issues? And if you haven't planned, what kind of intervention can you take to deal with the circumstance?
I couldn't agree more. I think kind of the three issues facing seniors really are plan, plan, plan. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about is much more easy to do prospectively than at the time there's some sort of need there. So if you see that you might need some issues with respect of maintaining your independence, for instance, it's great to deal with that up front, and instead of waiting until you actually need those mechanisms in place.
So a big one would be wills, I suppose.
Yeah, that's another issue we see a lot, is how
Right.
do I get my life savings to my family, my children?
Absolutely. When I think about estate planning, which is really what we're talking about, I think about the disability issues we were just talking about, as well as wills and potentially some tax issues of transferring assets tax efficiently. And I think it's incumbent upon us as planners that when somebody comes in to talk to us about wills, we kind of talk about those other two aspects as well, because they might not be thinking about planning now for disability or tax efficient transfer.
And what about, this just came to my mind actually, what about directives? If somebody's in the hospital and perhaps can't speak for themselves, is that a legal issue as well?
Absolutely. I think that one of the things we have in Colorado is a statute which permits people to do advance directives and give really instructions that can be binding on what you want to happen with your health care, and then in particular what you would want to happen in an end-of-life circumstance.
And in addition to that, if you're looking at designating an agent to speak for you if you can't make medical decisions for yourself, a medical power of attorney is a very powerful tool to allow somebody of your choosing to make medical decisions for you. So you have that structure in place so that if you can speak to your doctors, meaning you're competent to make decisions and you can articulate your wishes, you can talk directly to your doctors. Otherwise, there's an agent in place of your choosing that can make choices for you, and you can have directives to deal with end-of-life if the agent isn't there, or if there are additional end-of-life issues outside of the power of attorney.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we experience as elder law attorneys is we become part of the family dynamic in trying to get that discussion going. And it's not enough just to have legal documents. You want the family members to talk to each other and express what it is that are their priorities, what are their concerns, and how would they want to be taken care of.
And again, sooner than later, I have a medical power of attorney in place, and I don't think that's an issue that just affects seniors, although it's certainly probably statistically more important for them. But I think communicating with the family about what your wishes are is absolutely crucial. I couldn't agree with you more.
So it's never too soon
Absolutely
to start. One of the things that comes to mind listening to you talk is it sounds like being an attorney in the way that you are involves a lot of social and interactive skills as well as the pure legal knowledge. So how does one choose an attorney? How does one do that?
Well, I think there are a number of ways. One is referrals from friends, family, who've worked with an attorney that they like. I think in our area, there are a number of good attorneys who specialize in working with seniors and their families. And those people may have a little more experience, a little more expertise in the specific concerns of seniors. So you may want to look for those people. There are organizations you can look at. There's the Colorado Bar Association has a website that will help people. There's the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. And then there's some for estate planning.
That's correct. There are local estate planning councils as well. And I think it's really important when you're shopping for a professional of any type, but especially someone that's going to come in and become a counselor for your family, to ask them questions like, tell me about your background, what's your practice philosophy, how long should I expect to wait before you return my phone calls? I mean, we're service providers. We should really be accountable to our clients.
Well, what if somebody absolutely flat out can't afford an attorney? What would be an option for somebody like that?
The very first place, at least here in Boulder County, that people should look is Boulder County Legal Services. Legal Services has some income thresholds, but they're actually relaxed for seniors looking for estate planning services.
And then there are referral services through the various bar associations that have recruited attorneys who are willing to take some cases on a reduced fee basis. And I know, like in my practice, I try to do a sliding scale of fees when there are people who I feel I can help, but the fees are an issue, to try to make it affordable for them.
That's comforting to know. Then basically every senior who would like advice on legal issues can find an answer.
There should not be a senior out there that needs legal advice on senior issues that can't find an attorney willing to help.
And how can people get more information about legal issues for seniors? I know you both have websites.
Yeah, well, mine is www.elderlawboulder.com.
The web's a great resource. I do have a website. It's lombardylaw.com. The web's a great place to start. You can also call aging services or some of the county-based institutions that can give referrals to other resources.
And I would also mention, just as a caution, that in this area, a lot of the laws are state-specific. So you don't really, if you use the web, be careful that you're looking at things that apply to Colorado.
And double check anything you see on the web anyway, right?
That's true. That's true. Thank you both so much, Brandon Fields, Russ Lombardi. And now to Ramar Sutton and Reality Check, and he's going to be talking about the power of one.